The screen is dark. Slow, haunting music plays. A faint sound of wind brushes over the open fields of Heartland. In Season 19, everything you thought you knew about Heartland will change. The ranch has seen struggle, loss, and healing before, but nothing like this. This time, the fight is not about saving the horses, or the land, or the family. This time, it's about saying goodbye. A goodbye no one expected. A goodbye that will break the heart of Heartland forever. The scene opens with sweeping drone shots of the Heartland ranch at sunrise. Golden light pours over the fields. The horses run free, their hooves pounding like a heartbeat. Voiceover. Heartland has always been more than just a ranch. It's a place where family finds strength, where dreams take root, and where every challenge has been met with courage. But even the strongest walls can shake. Even the bravest hearts can falter. And even the ones we believe are unbreakable can fall. Clips of Tim appear without showing faces directly. Only silhouettes, hands tightening the reins of a horse, boots kicking up dust. The sound of his voice in the background faintly laughing with Amy. Voiceover continues. Tim Fleming stood tall through every storm. A father trying to make up for lost time. A fighter who never backed down, no matter how steep the climb. To Amy, he was more than a parent. He was a stubborn teacher, protector, and sometimes the man who carried the family when they couldn't carry themselves. To Jack, he was a brother in arms, someone who could be relied on even in the darkest hours. And to the ranch itself, Tim was its fire, the energy that kept it alive. The music shifts slightly, a note of tension creeps in. The visuals change. A storm cloud rolls in over the hills. The wind rattles the barn doors. A close-up shot of Tim's hand shaking slightly, hidden from the others, but heavy with meaning. Voiceover, but time. Time catches up with everyone. The weight of battles fought, the cost of choices made, the strain of years trying to be everything for everyone, it all begins to show. Heartland is no stranger to loss. But this loss will not be like the others. This one will change everything. The camera cuts to Amy looking across the ranch, sensing something is wrong. Jack leans on the fence, staring into the horizon. And Tim walks away into the shadows of the barn, heavy silence following behind him. Voiceover ends the section with a chilling pause. This is the beginning of the end. The ranch is quiet at dusk. The golden light has faded, replaced by a heavy sky of gray. The camera lingers on the empty corrals, the worn wood of the barn, and the slow movement of a lone horse grazing. A sense of unease hangs in the air, though nothing has been said. Voiceover. Sometimes the heart sends warnings long before the body does. And sometimes those warnings are too quiet to hear. For Tim, the signs were their moments he could not explain, shadows he could not outrun. He brushed them aside. He told himself he was strong enough, stubborn enough, fearless enough to push through. But the truth was already written in the silence. Clips fade in and out, Tim tightening his belt, hiding a short breath of pain. A shot of his hand gripping the stable door, knuckles white, holding back weakness. A faint cough in the background while laughter echoes from the family inside the house. Voiceover. He never wanted to show it. Not to Amy, not to Jack, not to anyone. Pride kept him moving forward, but pride can be dangerous when the body begins to fail. For every secret pain, for every sleepless night, for every heavy breath, the weight grew heavier. And heavier still, as the music swells with low strings. The screen shows Amy's face turning worried as she notices her father's distance. Jack catches Tim staring out across the fields, quiet, lost in thought. He asks him softly, "You all right, cowboy?" Tim forces a smile, nods, but says nothing. Voiceover. There were words left unspoken, promises he had yet to keep, memories he wanted to make, but never would. And though his family felt the storm building, none of them were ready for what it meant. Because no one ever believes the strongest will fall, until they do. The scene shifts, dark clouds gather. A horse neighs sharply, unsettled. The wind picks up. A storm begins to roll across the valley, the kind of storm that feels like an omen. Tim is shown walking into the barn, alone, his silhouette swallowed by shadow as the doors closed behind him. Voiceover closes the section. Something was coming. Something none of them could stop. And soon, Heartland would learn the hardest lesson of all. That not even family lasts forever. The screen is almost black. Only the sound of thunder echoes across the valley. A flash of lightning lights up the ranch for just a second, revealing the outline of the barn. The horses restless in their stalls. Voiceover. Some storms arrive without mercy. They do not wait. They do not ask. They simply take. The sound of hurried footsteps on gravel. Tim's boots hit the ground hard. His breathing is heavier than it should be. Each step a struggle, though he presses forward. The ranch is shaking with noise. The storm outside. The horses inside. The beating of a heart that is beginning to fail. Cut 2 quick shots. A horse thrashing in its stall. Lightning slicing the night sky. Tim's hand clutching his chest for a brief second before he forces it down, unwilling to let weakness show. His voice echoes in the dark, shouting to calm the horses. The ranch needs him, just as it always has. Voiceover. He had always fought for this place, for these people, for the life he tried so hard to rebuild. And even in his final hour. But this was a fight no man could win. The camera shakes as a loud crack splits the air, whether it's thunder, the shattering of wood, or something far more final. The audience cannot tell. A horse rears back, Tim stumbles, the world tilts. There's a crash. Silence follows. Only the storm continues to rage outside, fade to black. For several seconds there is no music, no voice. Just the sound of rain falling. Then faintly, Amy's voice in the distance, calling out, searching, her tone trembling. Voiceover returns. Low and haunting, and just like that, the fire of Heartland was gone. The screen flashes white for an instant, then cuts to slow-motion shots. Amy running into the barn. Jack frozen with shock. The horses still restless but quieter, as if they too understand. The tragedy is never shown in full. The audience is left with fragments, pieces of a night that changed everything. Voiceover ends the section with finality. This was not just another loss. This was the last death. The one that would leave Heartland forever changed. The screen is silent. No music. Only the slow creak of a barn door swinging in the wind. The storm is past, but its damage remains. The fields are soaked in rain, puddles reflecting the gray sky. Everything looks colder, emptier. Voiceover. Heartland has weathered storms before, but this was different. This was not a battle they could recover from, because when Tim's voice went silent, so did a part of the ranch itself. The camera shows fragments of grief, never full faces. Amy's hands trembling as she brushes a horse's mane, her breath uneven. Jack's hat held low in his hands, his boots planted firmly on the porch, but his shoulders weighed down like never before. Lou sets a dinner plate at the table, then hesitates, pulling it back, her eyes falling shut. Voiceover. Their world kept moving, but nothing felt alive. The sound of horses running carried no joy. The sunrise painted the fields, but the light was hollow. Every corner of Heartland whispered his absence. Old memories bleed into the screen, quick flashes of Tim's silhouette riding across the fields. His laughter echoing faintly, his hand clapping Amy on the shoulder after a long day's work. These moments feel brighter, warmer, like ghosts of a world that no longer exists. Voiceover. Tim was never perfect. He stumbled, he fought, he failed more times than he would admit. But he always came back. He always stood up again. And now, for the first time, he didn't. The music begins again. A slow piano, a single note echoing like a heartbeat. A shot of Amy standing alone in the pasture, looking out at the horizon. Jack walks up behind her, places a hand on her shoulder. Neither says a word. They don't have to. Voiceover. Season 19 is not just another chapter. It is the final goodbye to the man who fought for his family until the very end. A goodbye that will leave scars across Heartland, and a goodbye the audience will never forget. Final montage, the horses gallop free across the fields. The ranch stands tall against the fading sunset. A black screen appears with white text. Heartland, Season 19. The last ride, the final goodbye. Voiceover whispers the last line. When the heart breaks, the land remembers. Fade to black. The screen is black. A single sound fades in, the rhythm of hoofbeats across wet earth. At first it's faint, like a memory, then louder, steadier, until it fills the silence. Voiceover. Life does not stop. The horses still run. The sun still rises. But the world without Tim feels different, emptier, quieter. Clips roll, faceless yet emotional. Amy's shadow sitting alone in the barn, the glow of lantern light behind her. Jack walking across the fields at dawn, shoulders hunched, each step slower than the last. Lou staring at old photographs, fingers brushing across memories that will never return. The tone shifts subtly. The piano melody deepens, joined by strings. The visuals move from grief to resilience. Amy gently leading a horse through the pasture. Jack fixing a broken fence. The family gathering in the distance, smaller than before, but together still. Voiceover. Heartland is a story of loss. But it is also a story of healing. And though this goodbye will never fade, the love Tim left behind will guide them forward. Because even in death, his spirit belongs to this land. To these people, to every heartbeat that echoes across the ranch. Final montage begins. Horses galloping through golden fields. The mountains shining under the morning sun. Quick flashes of laughter from seasons past. Voices echoing like distant memories, then fading into silence. On screen, bold white text fades in slowly. Heartland, Season 19. The last death, the final goodbye. The screen lingers on black for a moment. Then, one last shot, Tim's silhouette riding across the horizon at sunset. As he disappears, the screen fades fully to black. Voiceover whispers the final words, "Don't miss the season that changes Heartland forever." Music cuts. Silence. Trailer ends. Black screen. Silence. Then, faintly the sound of boots crunching on gravel. Slow, steady, familiar. A match strikes in the dark. The glow lights up just enough to show the ranch gate empty, swinging slightly in the wind. The flame flickers out. Voiceover, low and haunting. Some goodbyes echo forever. A final shot. The ranch at night. A lone horse stands near the fence, staring into the darkness, as if waiting for someone who will never return. Suddenly, the screen cuts to black again. One final text line appears in white. Heartland, Season 19, coming soon. Music ends with a single deep note that lingers like a heartbeat slowing down. And then silence. The screen is empty. No music. Only silence. A slow fading of the Heartland fields at dawn. Golden light spilling across the horizon. The storm is gone. The land feels quiet, almost sacred. Voiceover. Every story has an ending. Some are soft, some are cruel. But the ending of Tim Fleming is both. It is the story of a man who fought too long, loved too fiercely, and lived too fast. And now, his story becomes memory. The visuals show faceless flashes of legacy, Amy placing her hand on a young foal. Jack fixing the ranch gates, Lou holding the family close. These are echoes of Tim's presence, ripples of the life he left behind. Voiceover continues, steady but emotional. He will not ride these fields again. He will not shout across the barn or laugh by the fire. But his spirit is carved into every stone, every tree, every hoofbeat of Heartland. And as long as this ranch stands, he will never truly be gone. Music swells, gentle strings, hopeful but bittersweet. The screen shifts to the silhouette of a rider in the distance, blurred by light. For a moment, it looks like Tim. Then it fades away with the rising sun. Voiceover. Season 19 is not just another season. It is the last ride of Tim Fleming. The goodbye that will break hearts, and the memory that will keep Heartland alive forever. Final black screen. White text fades in slowly. One word at a time. Heartland, Season 19. The Last Death. The Final Goodbye. The trailer ends on silence, leaving only the echo of wind across the fields.